G'day everybody, welcome to Pub Yarns, and for those who are in the footy tipping competitions, at the moment I'm sitting on 77 points in third place in our tipping comp, chasing down 83. So let's see how we go with that over the next few weeks. Well, that's round 16 done and dusted, so let's do the recap of round 16. Alright, first game in was the Knights versus the Dragons, a close game by 2 to the Knights. Knights was 22, Dragons 20. I think the Dragons might be too far off a couple of wins coming up in the next few weeks, but we'll see how that goes. Next game in was the informed Dolphins versus the West Tigers. The Dolphins once again ran away with that, 36 to 22. Hammer's men are going quite well. The surprise of the week was the Titans versus the Panthers. The Panthers were missing a couple of their stars, but the Titans didn't panic either. They come away with that with a 1-point win, 19 to 18. The next game in was the Bulldogs versus the Manly Sea Eagles. That was also a 1-point game with the Bulldogs coming away with that. Alright, the next game after that was the Warriors versus the Cowboys. Once again, the Warriors are also showing why they were in second spot. It was a 38-20 against the Cowboys. The Cowboys have still got Dearden on the sidelines. He might be making a comeback this week, so that could also bolster the Cowboys this week. The next game in seemed to be a bit of a mismatch. The Storm seems to be turning the corner again, and they've towered up the good old Raiders 42 to 20. Are the Storm ready to make a charge for the top 8? We'll see over the next few weeks. And the round out was the good old Roosters versus the Sharks. The Roosters were without a couple of their stars, but that didn't really worry them. They come away with the win of 27 to 8 over the Sharks. Alright, round 17 time, and as for tipping, I think this might be the hardest round of the whole comp. So many teams are so equal to each other, but let's see how we go. First game in is the Eels versus the Rabbits, and we've got Mitch Moses coming back in the Eels, and we also got Latrell coming back in for the Rabbits. So that's going to be both teams bolstered right up. Who's going to win this game? I think the Eels might just get it, only because they're at home, and I'm going to go the Eels by 2. Next game in is the Titans versus the Dogs. I think the Titans might get a little bit of confidence out of that game last week against the Panthers, and even though the Dogs did beat Manly, but obviously the Titans had the bigger game, and the Titans were also at home. So I'm going to go to Titans. I'm going to go to Titans by 2 also. Next game in is the Roosters versus the Broncos, and I think the Broncos are done and dusted for the season. Roosters are still looking like they could win the comp, and that's where my money is for the end, and I'm going to go to Roosters by 4. Now comes another tough one, Dolphins versus the Warriors. Dolphins are number 3 on the ladder with a for and against 129. Warriors are number 2 on the ladder, for and against at 170. Tough game. Who's going to win what? Dolphins are at home. I have to go to Dolphins at home. Dolphins at home by 4. North Queensland versus the Penrith Panthers. The Panthers have got all their team back again. And I think Drinkwater and Dearden are playing for the North Queensland Cowboys this weekend, so that's bolstered their troops up. But reality also sings a very different tune. I'm going to have to go to Panthers here, Panthers by 12. Next game in is the Sea Eagles versus the Melbourne Storm, and Harry Grant had an absolute stunner at the Origin level. So did Munster. Are they turning the corner? I think they have. I'm going to stick my neck out here again, and I'm going to crack on with the Storm. Storm by 6. Alright, next game in is the Raiders versus the Dragons, and those Dragons are getting closer and closer. So at the moment, the Raiders are 16, the Dragons are 17 from the ladder. Raiders are minus 123 and the Dragons minus 245. But St George has been close over the last couple of weeks. Only lost by a couple there last weekend against a fairly fast attacking Knights group. They did get beat by the Sharks. They have been close. They did beat the Broncos a couple of weeks ago. So if you thought that the Dragons could beat the Raiders, I can't see why you think you couldn't. So this week, I'm sticking my neck out. I'm sticking my neck out to say it's time for the Dragons to get another win. Dragons over the Raiders, even though it's in Canberra. Dragons by 4. Next game in is the Newcastle Knights versus the Tigers. And I think the Newcastle Knights are still running fairly hot. Let's have a look where they are on the ladder. The Knights are running 5th. Tigers are running 10th. I think with Ponga coming back on the side and the Knights still looking good, Dylan Brown's still playing good footy, I'm going to go with the Knights by 8. Alright, recap time. Just before I recap, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave the comments down the bottom if you think you can tip better than what I'm doing. Alright, first game in is the Eels by 2. Next one, the Titans by 2. Roosters by 4. Dolphins by 4 over the Warriors. Panthers by 12 to take care of North Queensland. Storm by 6 to take care of Manly. That's going to be a game to watch. It should be pretty good. Dragons by 4 for one of their rare wins, but the Raiders are just playing absolute rubbish. And the good old Newcastle Knights should take care of the West Tigers. So that's my tips for this week. Hopefully you'll all go well. And once again, like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next one.